The best guy I played against might have been, Larry Bird, someone like that.
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
People, I don't think people
don't
look
appreciate-
at him and think,
Yeah,
oh,
they
he's
said,
a
"Oh,
white
no,
guy,
he's-
slow
he's-
guy.
The chubby white guy, he wore us out, man. Because he just, this muscle here, the one between his ears,
Yeah.
that was his best, because he made the 3-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time on the court. One of the great players, I had the opportunity to play against.
Larry Bird pulled off something that LeBron James has never done. He had NBA legends straight up shook, not just tense, not just unsure, actually terrified to share the court with him. Magic Johnson admitted Bird was the only dude who made his hands shake before tip-off. Michael Jordan said Bird was the one opponent who could creep into his mind and stay there. Gary Payton called him the most dangerous trash talker alive. And now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just confirmed the thing everybody whispered about but never dared to say. Bird reached a level of fear, factor greatness that LeBron, even with all the trophies and records, still hasn't fully touched. And when it comes from a man who battled Bird in real time and watched LeBron's whole career from the front row, that hits different. What makes this wild is Kareem ain't some old legend stuck in the past. He actually respects LeBron a lot. His leadership, his professionalism, his insane 21-season grind. But when Kareem explains what separates Bird from LeBron, he's talking about something deeper, something you won't see in a box score. He's talking about the raw spirit of competition itself and how the game shifted in ways most fans don't even notice. Bird didn't just dominate his era, he haunted it. And Kareem says there's a huge difference between being the best player on the floor and being the one every opponent fears the most. One makes you great, the other makes you unforgettable. And coming from Kareem, a man who went head up with Wilt Chamberlain in the 70s and then warred with Bird and Magic all through the 80s, that's a perspective you can't ignore. Kareem moved into coaching and analysis, watching LeBron's whole journey. From 2003 all the way to today, nobody alive has seen basketball stretch across 5 straight decades the way he has. So when someone with that kind of knowledge says Bird had something LeBron still hasn't fully captured, you don't brush it off. You pay attention. Kareem saw Bird's mind games up close. He remembers how the whole vibe in every arena shifted the second Bird stepped inside. Teams built entire defensive plans just to slow him down, like he was a full squad by himself, not one forward. And it gets even crazier. Kareem once described Bird in a way that still sends chills down people's backs. He said Bird was out there playing chess while everyone else was stuck playing checkers. That wasn't just a catchy line, that was real. Bird could read defenses before they even existed. He saw plays developing 3 moves ahead. Defenders thought they boxed him in, and then out of nowhere he'd drain a shot from a wild angle or drop a pass that looked impossible. His basketball IQ wasn't just high, it felt unreal, and the wildest part, he'd tell you what he planned to do, then pull it off while laughing right in your face. That kind of mental takeover doesn't show up in stats, but everyone from that era says the same thing. Bird broke your confidence and lived rent-free in your head. Now compare that to LeBron's style. LeBron dominates through pure preparation and total control. He studies every habit, every play, every weakness until he knows opponents better than they know themselves. By the time he steps on the court, he already played the whole chess game in his mind. And that's how he stayed elite for so long. For almost 2 decades, Kareem watched something most fans never notice. LeBron makes opponents respect him, but Bird made opponents fear him. Those are 2 totally different mindsets on the court. When Bird showed up, players felt real pressure in their chest because they knew he wasn't just going for the win. He was coming straight for their pride. When LeBron steps on the floor, teams get locked in and execute their game plan perfectly because they know he'll punish mistakes. But that's respect, not fear. Both styles bring success, but only one leaves legends still shaking their heads years later, wondering how Bird did it. Now let's break down the eras because this is where Kareem's point hits the hardest. The 1980s. Bird's era was absolutely vicious. Hand checking was legal. Defenders could push you, grab you, rough you up, and the refs barely blinked. The bad boy Pistons would straight up try to injure you so you'd think twice about driving inside. Every possession took pain and toughness just to survive. There was no spaced out floor, no easy threes. You fought through bodies just to get a clean look. And Bird didn't just survive that chaos, he owned it. Detroit would knock him down, Philly would throw elbows, and he'd show up the next night like nothing happened, casually dropping 30 with that same smooth jumper. Kareem remembers those wars clearly because he lived them. He saw how Bird's body took punishment that would end a lot of players' careers today. Back issues, nerve problems, constant pain, and he still played nearly 38 minutes a night for 10 straight years. And real quick, if you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that subscribe button because it only takes a few seconds and it means a lot to me. Bird didn't believe in load management. None of that sitting out back-to-back stuff. He pushed through everything with a stubborn mindset that refused to quit until his body had no choice. And the crazy part is, the numbers prove this wasn't some fake tough guy story. From 1984 to 1986, Bird dropped 26 points, grabbed 10 boards, and dished 6 assists a night while shooting nearly 50% from the field and 40% from deep. 3 straight MVPs, 3 titles in 5 years, all while facing teams packed with Hall of Famers, Magic and Kareem's Lakers, Dr. J's Sixers, and Isaiah's Pistons. That's not just dominance. That's dominance in one of the toughest eras ever. Now flip to LeBron's world. When he entered the league in 2003, the NBA was already shifting. More global, more polished, more business-driven, and the biggest difference, the rules got redesigned to protect stars and pump up scoring. Hand checking was banned in 2004, defensive 3 seconds got enforced hard, and suddenly driving lanes opened wide. Refs started calling fouls on contact that barely looked rough. The whole system moved towards speed and skill instead of physical punishment. Kareem doesn't blame LeBron for any of this. He just sees how the evolution lined up perfectly with LeBron's strengths. LeBron's size, speed, and power turned into an unstoppable combo in a league where defenders weren't allowed to slow him down the old school way. And here's where Kareem's point gets real interesting. LeBron's insane longevity, his ability to stay elite into his 40s, isn't just about him being built different. Modern stars like LeBron don't just rely on talent. They've got a whole system built around them now. Advanced nutrition, recovery tech, sleep tracking, injury prevention, all of it designed to stretch careers way longer than anything Bird ever had access to. Today's teams travel on charter jets with flat beds and huge medical staffs keeping players fresh. Bird played in a completely different world, flying commercial, practicing right after brutal games, and sports science was literally dunking your knees in a bucket of ice. LeBron deserves respect for taking care of his body, but it's also true that he benefits from resources Bird never even dreamed of. So when people point at LeBron's 21 seasons and try to say he's automatically tougher than Bird, only lasting 13, Kareem shuts that down fast. He asks real questions. What would Bird look like with modern medicine? What if he had today's surgeries, treatments, and recovery tools? What if he wasn't grinding through 82 games a year in a league where opponents openly tried to hurt you? Bird's body broke down at 35, not because he was soft, but because his era demanded a level of physical sacrifice that would sound unbelievable today. LeBron lasting until 40 is amazing, but he's doing it in a league built to protect stars in ways Bird could never imagine. Both careers are legendary, but the context changes everything. One guy survived a war, the other ran a marathon with the best support system basketball ever created. And if we check the numbers, even Kareem admits stats don't tell the whole story, but they still hit hard. Bird played only 13 seasons, and in that stretch, he averaged 24.3 points, 10 rebounds, and 6.3 assists every night. Bird's shooting splits were unreal, nearly 50% from the field, almost 38% from deep, and close to 89% at the line. He was one of the first players ever to flirt with that iconic 50-40-90 level, something that's still rare today. Kareem remembers how players didn't just hate guarding Bird. They feared how he controlled the whole rhythm of a game. It wasn't just the scoring, it was the way every rebound turned into a perfect outlet pass, and every possession felt sharp and intentional. Bird wasted nothing. Everything he did had a purpose. Meanwhile, LeBron's resume stretches across over 21 seasons, putting up around 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, while shooting 50% from the floor. 4 MVPs, 4 championships, and he even took the scoring crown that belonged to Kareem himself. Kareem respects those numbers deeply and always says, staying that great for that long takes discipline most players can't even picture. But when he studies the eras closer, he sees how today's faster pace boosts counting stats in ways fans don't always think about. Teams now average around 100 possessions per game. Back in Bird's prime, it was closer to 95. More possessions mean more chances to score, rebound, and assist. Simple math. What blows Kareem away about Bird is the way his efficiency actually spiked under pressure. In elimination games, when everything was on the line, Bird jumped to 27 points, 10 boards, and 7 assists, while keeping his shooting above 50%. He rarely turned the ball over and always showed up when the entire season came down to one night. Kareem loves that detail because it proves Bird's greatness came from timing and control, not just piling up stats. He didn't need the ball every possession. He just needed it when the game was on the edge. And when that moment hit, he completely took over. LeBron has delivered legendary playoff runs too. 2012, 2016, 2020. No question he dominated. But there were stretches where his efficiency dipped, especially when defenses packed the paint and forced him to rely on jumpers. And then we hit the durability debate, which always gets messy. Bird's career ended at 35 because chronic back pain made continuing basically impossible. LeBron still hooping at 40 and performing at an all-star level looks like pure toughness, but Kareem sees way more under the surface. He points out how the whole NBA structure changed. Private jets, elite recovery tools, huge medical staffs, and schedules built with real rest. Things Bird never had. Bird's 13 seasons came in a league with brutal contact and almost no recovery time, while LeBron's 21 years benefit from science built to protect stars. To Kareem, the real question isn't who lasted longer, it's who did more with what they had. And Bird's shorter stretch of dominance still hits hard. Kareem goes deeper and says greatness isn't about applause. It's about respect from legends once the cameras are off. And when all-time greats talk about Bird, the tone flips instantly. They describe a man who could break you mentally before the game even tipped off. Magic Johnson admitted Bird was the only rival who made him genuinely nervous at his peak. Gary Payton called Bird the coldest trash talker alive. And Michael Jordan said Bird was the one opponent who truly scared him even years later. That's psychological dominance, not nostalgia. LeBron earns respect for preparation, IQ, and carrying squads, but it's not the same fear Bird inspired. Kareem says it comes from how both men built their edge. Bird used psychological warfare like a weapon, calling his shots, telling defenders exactly what was coming, then doing it anyway while smiling. LeBron dominates through precision and control, not mind games, and that difference fuels the whole Bird versus LeBron debate. LeBron dominates by studying every matchup until the game moves at his rhythm. Both styles work, but one creates awe while the other creates pure admiration. And Kareem says that difference matters more than people realize. Kareem also noticed something deeper. Bird's rivals wanted to beat him. They wanted to prove they could survive his mind games and walk out proud. It was personal. LeBron's rivals, especially today, often want to join him instead. Stars keep teaming up with him rather than challenging him. And that says a lot about how competition changed. In Bird's era, pride came first. You proved yourself by beating the top dog, not standing beside him. In LeBron's era, rings became everything. Even if it meant forming super teams, Kareem doesn't judge either style. He just sees two totally different ideas of what competition means. Then there's the emotional bond with a city. Bird was Boston. The attitude, the toughness, the stubborn grind. Fans didn't just cheer for him, they saw themselves in him. He never left, never chased markets, never reinvented himself. His greatness stayed rooted in loyalty from day one. LeBron's path is different. Cleveland, Miami, Los Angeles. His story is about movement, adaptation, reshaping himself with new squads and new uniforms. Kareem relates since he left Milwaukee for Los Angeles, but he still points out how Bird never needed to search for the perfect fit. He was the perfect fit the second he stepped in. And that leads to Kareem's biggest point. Basketball in his eyes reflects character. When he compares Bird and LeBron, he sees two totally different definitions of greatness. Bird stood for purity. No drama, no excuses, no theatrics, just winning. Everything else was background noise. LeBron represents the modern superstar. Global brand, huge voice, ultimate professional, a symbol of the 21st century athlete. Kareem respects how the game evolved, but he also feels the core of competition shifted over time. Today's stars can pick teammates, manage minutes, and shape the narrative instantly. Bird never had that power. His story was written through bruises, battles, and pure toughness, not media control. That's why Kareem's voice carries so much calm authority. He's not tearing down LeBron. He's reminding people that greatness comes in different forms. One built through pain, one built through opportunity. Bird played through injuries that would sideline players today, dealing with nerve damage and constant back pain, yet still giving Boston huge minutes until his body quit. LeBron's greatness comes from maintenance, using every tool available to keep his body sharp for 2 decades. One beat time with grit, the other refused to let time win through science and discipline. Kareem sees both as legendary, but Bird's era still hits him hardest because of the sacrifice and pride that defined it. To Kareem, true legends bend the game to their will. Bird did it with anticipation and insane IQ, seeing plays before they even formed. LeBron does it with strength and adaptability, overpowering defenders or changing his style on the fly. The real difference is how they made opponents feel. When Bird walked on the floor, players felt fear, like something bad was coming and they had no way to stop it. When LeBron shows up, opponents feel pressure. They know one mistake and he'll tear their plan apart. Bird's greatness felt personal, like he was targeting you specifically. LeBron's greatness feels engineered, like you're facing a perfectly built machine. Both dominate, but only one captured the raw, old-school heart of competition in Kareem's eyes. So when Kareem weighs in on the Bird versus LeBron debate, he's not dropping a final verdict set in stone. Kareem isn't trying to crown a winner. He's given a perspective only someone who lived through both eras can offer. He's saying greatness isn't about who lasted longer, who stacked more points, or who sold the most jerseys. It's about whose presence reshaped the whole culture of the sport. Larry Bird did that without modern comfort, without sports science, without media control. He did it through pure mind games, clutch moments, and refusing to let opponents or even his own aching body write his legacy for him. He showed basketball what it used to stand for: raw competition, ice-cold execution, and respect earned through dominance that stayed in your head long after the final buzzer. And to Kareem, that will always be the highest test of greatness, no matter what the record books say. And hey, if you're enjoying this story, it would mean a lot to me if you could like, subscribe, and share. It only takes a few seconds, and it truly helps more than you know.